everybody, and welcome to episode 122 of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest, and you can find show notes for this episode and all previous corresponding numbered episode threads on the This Old Knit Ravelry group. So welcome to all new viewers, and welcome back to all returning viewers. I was actually sick for about a week and a half or so. So I think I might be a little bit off on my timing, but typically this is a bi-weekly podcast about knitting, sewing, cross stitch, and general life stuff. Yeah, I don't really have any other crafts that I do enough to really speak of. So it is super, super cold. I'm sorry, I'm coming to you from Central Connecticut. So it's super cold. It has definitely made the turn towards winter. And so it is, I think, going to get down to maybe between 12 and 15 degrees tonight, which is around -7 or 8. Subtract 30 divided by 2. So if I subtract 30, it's -15 divided by 2, around -7 or 8. So cold. And we have our pellet stove going, so you'll probably hear some humming in the background. But I'm not podcasting from my living room because then the fire will probably make a bunch of weird light. It is dark outside. It's getting dark at around 4 o'clock. For those of us in the US, we did daylight savings time. I think it was last weekend. So we changed our clocks back an hour. So it's still light in the morning, but it is dark in the nighttime. So by around 4:30, it is getting dark. So for my evening walks, I'm actually using a flashlight, or I actually need to get my headlamp out because I'm going to try to use my camping headlamp. I think that'll be a little bit nicer because I usually am holding my phone, or I have my phone in my pocket and I want to have my hands in mittens. So it would be nice to not have to be holding a flashlight. And today I'm drinking some Yogi Egyptian licorice tea. So really quickly, I closed the thread for the fall make-along. Last time that I podcast, I mistakenly said that it was through the end of November. It was actually through the end of October. And that was what was in the header of the thread and everything. So I apologize for misspeaking. But I did give you extra time because I didn't close it until today. So anybody that had entered finished objects up until today would have been in the drawing. I've drawn for the winner, and the winner is the Counting Sheep. So congratulations, and please send me a Ravelry message with your mailing address, and I will get a prize out to you. I don't know that I've decided what it's going to be, but I'll find something. Or maybe I'll ask you what you would like, and then we can figure it out. 99% of the time, my prizes are something from my stash, because I don't often get prize donations. So I just kind of take things out of my stash that either I think would have a good home elsewhere, or sometimes I'll pick things up, like if I'm at a festival or something like that. My mom has sent me stuff. Kristen has sometimes sent me stuff to give away. Sometimes I get patterns to give away, but most of the time it's funded by me. So, so let's see. I've been working on quite a lot of stuff, and I did go to New England Fiber Festival, or NEF, N-E-F-F, and I did that. It's the first weekend in November, so it was not last weekend, but the weekend before. It was tons of fun. I would highly recommend it if you are somewhere in the semi-local area, or even if you're not. It's one that would be worth traveling for because it's pretty big. There were a lot of vendors. And it's one that I definitely will keep on my list of going to every year because it was a very different, sorry, trying to do stuff backwards, a very different feel from Rhinebeck. Like the aisles were very open. It was all inside, so it was warm. Didn't have to worry about it raining on you or snowing potentially. And like I said, there was a lot of different vendors. There were fiber animals. But I'll get into it more at the end of the podcast. But I do have a couple of acquisitions to share with you from that. But seeing as how it followed after Rhinebeck, I did not get very much stuff. I did try to restrain myself just a little bit because I already had done India and Tangled and Rhinebeck and Wool Gathering because I happened to go back to Ohio at the same time that Wool Gathering was happening. So, like I said, I was sick. I had a pretty bad ear infection, so I've actually ruptured my eardrum on the right side. It is healing, but everything is very loud on that side. And like when I pop my ears, I can hear just air going through it. And I still have a bit of the lingering cough from the combined sinus infection that brought that all about. Today is my last day of antibiotics. Yay! So, the majority of my knitting time has been devoted to my husband's sweater, which is living in this gigantic tote bag because it's the only bag that I have that's large enough to hold this project. So, if you're interested, you can see my husband in, I think, one of the Vlogmas episodes last year. I did the like fiber partner challenge or something where you ask your spouse or partner questions about knitting, spinning, fiber, etc. It was really fun, so I highly recommend going back to that if you want to. But he's a giant person. He's a little bit over 6 foot tall, and he's a weightlifter, so he has large shoulders, etc. And compared to me, this sweater is gigantic. So I am knitting it out of some Brook vintage. I got this yarn from my Aunt Lynn's stash when she passed away. My mom kind of divided up her stash between me, my sister, her, and then her knitting group. So I got a couple of sweaters quantities of navy blue yarn. I got this Brook vintage one, and then I got one that's more like a sweaters quantity for me that is in, I think it's like Lamb's Pride worsted. Yeah, I think. And it's a little more bright blue than this one. But it's just a basic navy blue yarn, and I apologize, like I've got a lamp over there, and it's like gonna blow out that part of the screen. But if I only had the overhead lights, I'm in my yarn parlor, and it only has recessed lighting on half of the room, and then the rest of the room has actually got no overhead lights. So I only have a lamp to try and light the rest of it. I actually might be able, though, to scooch it over a little bit. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. I just scooted it a little more out of frame, so it's not like right here. It's just slightly over more. So here it is. It's just navy blue yarn. Not anything interesting. It is definitely a solid commercial blue yarn. But you use what you got, right? And having a sweater's quantity for a very, very large man sweater is a tall order. I certainly wasn't going to do my first one that I was knitting for him out of an indie dyed yarn. I never make one for him out of an indie dyed yarn. So yeah, there it is. So I'm knitting the Gramps cardigan by Tin Can Knits. As with all Tin Can Knits patterns, it's sized all the way up from baby to, I think a 5XL or something like that. I don't think I have the pattern with me. But it is a paid for pattern, but it's got a great size range. So I am making the 2XL, which is a 56-inch chest measurement, I believe. So what it is it's a cardigan with a shawl collar and button bands, and it's really hard to show. Sorry, the oil kicked on. We do have oil heating, though we try to not let it kick on very frequently, but it also does our tankless water, so it does have to occasionally kick on to keep the pilot lit. But predominantly we heat our house with our pellet stove. So I did a really deep ribbing on it. I did not change to a bigger or a smaller needle for the ribbing because I wanted it to have room to just be loose and comfortable. Man sweater, right? Positive ease. So I've completed, I'm sorry, it's all tangled up in the yarn that's attached to it. I've completed one sleeve, and these are marking all of my decreases. So I did a bunch of decreases, and I actually ended up like not doing all the decreases called for in the pattern because I realized that the arm was long enough that I actually needed to start the cuff. So I worked one of the decreases in the ribbing itself. God, that's so blown out. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's got stuff on it, fuzz. So I did like a 4-inch, 4 or 4.5-inch cuff. And the thought behind that is my husband Josh said he wanted to be able to roll it down and kind of have it, you know, cinch up on his arm so that then he could push up the sleeves if he was working out in the workshop. So I made sure it was long enough that it would have a 2-inch cuff when doubled. So it's 4 inches. So like I said, I worked one more decrease inside the ribbing, and it was actually kind of 2 decreases. So I did a knit 2 together, purl 2 together so that I could keep the 1x1 ribbing. And I did it on both sides for mirrored decreases. So I actually worked 4 decreases in that row instead of the normal 2. And then I have worked the other sleeve. I'm done with the part that I worked even, and I've done 5 decreases out of, I think I had like 13 or 14 decreases before I started the cuff. So I'm a good bit of the way done with this sleeve. I think once I finish podcasting, I will continue on this sleeve. I'm hoping to have the sleeve completely done by this weekend. And the reason for that is that we are going to get family pictures done at Thanksgiving time. And my husband's side of the family, his sister is coordinating it, and she asked for us to have like a color palette, or she gave us a color palette. And the colors were navy blue, burgundy, so like this bag, mustard yellow, gray, and black. So I, being the person that I am, said, okay, well, I'm going to make something for everyone so that we can all be in handmade outfits or have some element upon us, which is handmade. Because we don't get family pictures done very frequently, and I thought that would be kind of a nice way to be able to look back and, you know, have the kids go, oh, look, Mom made all that stuff. So my husband will be wearing a handmade cardigan. Oh, shoot. I need to go get there's all kinds of crazy noises happening. The dishwasher is going, the oil's going, the pellet stove. Oh my goodness. So this is actually one of my purchases from Neff, but I think it makes sense to show it now. So when I was at Neff, there was a vendor called Bison Buttons, and it's B-Y-S-O-N, and they had a gigantic like bin of vintage leather buttons that look like they, you know, cut them off of cardigans, etc. So I rooted through that whole bin, and I found, I think I have 13 of these. The cardigan calls for 9 of them, but I was like, there's no way I'm going to find spares if one gets lost. So I got vintage leather buttons for Josh's cardigan, and they were really affordable. I think they were like between 50 cents and $1 a piece. So yeah. So this is what it looks like. Yeah. So it's a shank button, and yeah, they've got this fun little kind of folded pattern around them, and then like a lip on them. So you can see like it's recessed in there. So yeah, I was super happy with those, and I think they're gonna look amazing on this cardigan because we are going for full-on professor / old man sweater here. Some of them are like a little bit rusted on the shank, so you can definitely tell that they've been salvaged, which I love. I love that like they didn't just go in the trash, because they're beautiful and they shouldn't go in the trash. This is the kind of stuff we should save. So yeah, like I said, I've got like 13 of them. I will use 9, and the rest I will squirrel away as spares if one falls off or gets ruined somehow. And they're like slightly different as far as color tone, but the ladies there were very nice, and they tried to help me find like as close in leather color between the buttons as they could, so that I could have really nice matching buttons. So there you go. And he's just gonna wear like chocolate colored slacks with it. I would love to sew him a t-shirt to go under it, but let's not be crazy. Sorry. Let's not be over the top. Not crazy. Over the top. Because I'm already ambitious enough. And my plan is actually coming to fruition, so I'm very happy about that. So, yep, those will go on the front. And hopefully I will be doing the shawl collar and button band this weekend, and then I can get those sewn on. If I'm sewing these on the plane, whatever, I'll be happy about that. So that is my Gramps cardigan / the Husbeast sweater. And Tommy from Squirrel Pie Productions has started her own Husbeast sweater, which I love. I love that other people are knitting husband sweaters. Meg from Bad Wolf Girl Studios, or Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits, is also knitting this sweater for her husband, and it's the same navy blue as me. I don't think it's the same yarn, but it's the exact same like navy blue gigantic sweater. So we're kind of cheering each other on and providing moral support for one another to get through the huge sweaters. But it does fit. Josh has tried it on multiple times. He loves it so far, and I think he's gonna, wear it a lot. So for Joshua, I am making him some pants. So these are the sandbox pants from Oliver & S Patterns. And this is not available anymore in print. It is a PDF only pattern. I wish I had got the print version because I hate working with PDF patterns. But I do at least have it. It's all cut out and taped, and this is my second pair of these pants that I've made. So I've gotten the use out of, all the time that I spent cutting it out and taping it together. So all I have left to do on these is put the waistband on and hem them. So I used a navy blue. It's kind of a canvas twill, but it's really soft. It feels kind of like almost suiting fabric. I mean, not quite, but it's got that more silky feel than like a true duck canvas. And it has these big pockets in the front and pockets on the back. I did not bother to do the, it has buttonholes on the rear pockets, but he's not going to be able to button those buttons behind him anyway, so I just left them off because then he can access the pockets and it's going to be easier. And then as the pocket lining, I used some leftover fabric I had from, I made a couple of project bags and I used this as the interior of those bags. Sorry, I only have this on with like a long stitch or a gather stitch, so I don't want to pull too hard. But it's like bubbles. Navy blue with like white bubble on there. So he's going to have navy blue pants. And then I am knitting him a Flaxlight. So again, Tinkin Knits patterns. And Flaxlight is actually a free pattern on Ravelry. And again, it goes from chest size 18 inches to 59 inches. So to what they call a 4XL from a 0-6 month size. So it's just a basic top-down raglan with a garter panel detail on the sleeves. And his is in this bag. And I frankly got a little bit sick of knitting on Josh's sweater and I needed something with colors. So I cast on for Joshua's sweater just to keep me motivated because I didn't want to burn out knitting just on a navy blue thing. So I am using some of my precious No Makers stash. This is Gnome Some Dove on the Scruffy Gnome base. So it is a tweed. Excuse me. And I had one skein that was left over from a cowl that I knit for my husband. It was like a modified version of the willow cowl without the eyelets. And then I had a doppelganger set that I picked up on the D-Stash. So the doppelganger set comes with a semi-solid. I don't know the name of the semi-solid color because it didn't have it on the label. Or I've lost the label. I don't know. So anyway, I've been alternating skeins of this and I used the other color for the coordinating pieces. So I have gotten a lot done on this because Joshua is tiny. So I have completed the top portion, separated for the sleeves, and I did like a stripe across the chest, which I have finished. So I've now taken off the gold color and rejoined the Gnome Some Dove. So he's going to have this big chest stripe, and then there will be 2 smaller stripes on each sleeve. And then the cuffs and the bottom ribbing will be also in that gold color. It's going to look really good on him. He has like caramely hazel eyes. So this color really is going to pop for him. And the fabric I showed in the last episode, this is the background color of it, which will be a dress for me. So, and then Megwin is going to have a navy blue dress. That's like the ruffle butt dress. Which I'm hopefully going to sew this weekend. So I'm either going to do hers or mine, or maybe I'll do hers and cut mine out. Maybe I'll just try to get both of those cut out. I don't know. But typically what I do is I just like cut out the fabric when I've got a larger span of time. And then I just try to do like a couple seams every night or every day. And it breaks up the project a little bit more. And for me, it's hard for me to find just like dedicated 3 or 4 hours to sit down at the machine. And that makes it so that I can actually accomplish some sewing. So I'm going to focus on Megwin's first because I've already sewed that pattern before. Should be pretty straightforward. And then mine, I haven't sewn it before, but it's really a basic shape. So it's the Moneta dress by Colette Patterns. And yeah, I don't think it'll be that difficult. But obviously I have to get the sewing done because I can't take my sewing machine with me. So if I have to compromise on something, it will be this. Because I can knit. I can knit this on the plane. He's tiny. I would not be worried at all if I'm this far along and I'm knitting it on the plane. I'll get it done. But the sewing has to be done before the weekend before, I would say. So I think I have 2 more weekends before that happens. Yeah. I can do it. I can do it. You can do this, Nina. You can do this. I need to put my pattern in here. It was kicking around and I need it to be in the bag. Yeah, so Flaxlight by Tin Can Knits. Good pattern. And then a project I didn't show recently, but I actually did make some progress on it. I took it when we went trick-or-treating because it was dark when we were driving around between stuff. So I thought it would be a good thing to take. I'm trying to figure out if I screwed up and pulled something. Kind of looks like it did. So this is a hat for Joshua. It is in Knit Picks Felici in the Firefighter colorway. So I'm done with the ribbing. It's a sockhead hat. This is just one size. So I'm just knitting until I get to the decreases. So it was a good project to take along with me. There's like salt trucks going because we're supposed to maybe get some snow overnight. So they're pre-salting the road. So I just hadn't shown that, so I figured I would. And then last thing, I did knit a little bit on my Yellow So Faded, mostly because I didn't have any other projects with me. Forget where we were, but I didn't bring anything with me. This was all I had. I happened to have it in my bag, so I did knit a little bit on it. So it has grown a tiny, tiny bit. Still love it. It's still awesome. And it will be done. So I will probably take this as some travel knitting. Because on the way back, obviously, I will not have any little sweaters to knit on. So I'll probably knit on this. And I'm also going to take these socks, which I'm just unraveling as I go. So I pulled the needle out of this for something else. But this is Hand Turkey by Jinx Yarns. It's a pretty old colorway of hers. And I thought it would be fun for Thanksgiving to work on some Thanksgiving-y socks. So, yeah, that's what it stripes like. It's a beautiful color. And I got quite a bit of the way through this leg. That's probably about half of sock leg for me. So I'm trying not to unravel it too much, but whatever. So I'll put some needles back in that and work on that as well. That'll be good for like when I'm sitting and talking with family and stuff like that I can just be knitting on a vanilla sock or vanilla sweater. So I think those will be my 2 travel projects. And then I actually have to travel for work as soon as our trip is done. So that's not fun, but I'll have to figure out more travel knitting for that, because if I finish those socks and I finish the sweater, I don't know. I may do a shawl. I've been kind of feeling like I want to start a shawl. And yeah, so I could kind of transition into Neff. So Kristen from the Volunine podcast was not able to go to Rhinebeck, and we don't get to see each other very often, like in person. So she said, well, I'm going to the New England Fiber Festival with my friend Tanya, and, you know, you can meet us there. So I said, yeah, it's great, because it's really close-ish to my house, closer than Rhinebeck. And so, sorry I'm saying so a lot. We met up on the Saturday in the morning. I got there a little bit before them and hung out with Gabby from Once Upon a Corgi and her husband, Jake. And we chatted for a little while. And then Kristen and Tanya got there. So we walked all around the marketplace together. And Tanya is hilarious. She is so fun. She and I were talking about the moho hikal that I was going to do for next year. And she said she's absolutely in for knitting an Andrea Mowry shawl. I want to knit the What the Fade, and she's been wanting to knit it too. So I'm probably going to start with that one. And I'm going to use my Star Wars set from Pandia's Jewels, because I think it needs to be a shawl, not a sweater. It's just too like different between the colors, and I don't think it would look very good. Like when I did it before, it made some weird pooling along the chest area, which isn't where I want to have weird pooling. But it's really cool. So I do want it to be in like a big shawl, and the What the Fade shawl is like a huge shawl, and I've wanted it for a long time. So I think I will cast that on first. I might do it on my trip, my work trip. And then I'll have something to work on. It's big enough that I won't have to take a lot of projects. I'll probably still take a pair of socks just so that I have something a little more mindless, because it does have brioche to start out. Not that brioche is like that mind taxing, but you know. Yeah, so Tanya and Kristen and I went all over the market. We met up with Adrian from the Freakish Lemon podcast, who is Gabby's brother, Mama Gergs, who's Gabby's mom. And we kind of walked around with them for a little while. We ate lunch with them, and we also met up with Kristen's in-laws, who are like the sweetest people ever. They're so cute. So we ate lunch with them, and then we kind of finished up with the marketplace, and they were all going to dinner. So they asked if I was able to stay for dinner, and I was like, yeah, but you know, it was like hours until dinner. So we went back to Gabby's hotel, because she had a hotel kind of close to the venue, and just sat and knitted and chatted. And by that point, like my ear was really starting to be painful. So like every time I would cough or blow my nose, it felt like it was just pulsing. And I couldn't hear very well. So he said, like, if I didn't seem like all there, that was why. And then we went to a German restaurant, I think called Munich House. And it was cool because they had vegetarian options, which was awesome. We had dinner and I hung out for a little while and then I drove home. So it was kind of on my way home, the restaurant, so it worked out perfectly. So yeah, it was a really fun day. It was great to hang out with everybody again. I hung out with a similar crew during VKL, but Tanya wasn't there. So yeah, I definitely would love to hang out with Tanya again. We had some good laughs about like, I want to buy a sheepskin. I shouldn't buy a sheepskin. What am I going to do with it? And I'm like, put it on the floor and roll around on it. I don't know. Buy it because you want to. We squished all the fiber. We went and like looked at fiber animals. One of the guys had like a baby Angora in like the pocket of his apron. So it was like just its head sticking out. So cute. So cute. So yeah, I will show you what I got. The first thing I got is a skein of yarn from Gabby. This one I looked at India and Tangled and I was like, no, I'm not going to get it. Because I got all the 3 skeins of mohair in her show colorway. But she still had this when I went to Neff. So I was like, yeah, it needs to be mine. And it was her last one. It is a skein of Pumpkin Throne, which is one of her Halloween colors. And it is on the penny base, which is an 80-10-10 superwash merino cashmere nylon. And it's got like obviously pumpkin, black. There's some dark green. Yeah, there's green bits there. So it's a nice moody fall color and I love it. So I think it needs to be like a hat with a giant black fuzzy pom-pom on it. But I don't have a pattern for it yet. But that's what I think it's going to be. Because it's going to be awesome like that. And it's very soft. So that is that. And then I got yarn from Kjersti Cat Designs, and she gave me a tote bag as well. Sorry that it's backwards. Maybe it will flip itself around, but it probably won't. I keep forgetting to change that setting. So this is the one that caught my eye, and I believe the ladies were looking at beads when I went over there. It was right next to the bead booth. And I didn't have any projects that I knew of that I was going to make with beads. And I actually still have a couple kinds of beads that I bought when I was making the sparkling cider hat. So until I go through those, I don't want to buy anymore. But I saw this and I had to get it. Because it reminded me of a excuse me, Lisa Frank folder that I had in my Trapper Keeper in the 80s. And yeah, I mean, look how happy it is. So this is going to be some really cool socks. I might do like black contrast, because that's like what you did in the 80s. You had neon and black. So I might do black heels, toes, and cuffs. And then, you know, the body of the sock in this color. So it is the confetti colorway. And it is on a 75-25 superwash merino nylon. 462 yards. So very generous yardage. And then I also got 2 skeins of like a neon red. Because Megwin has been asking me for a red sweater for a really long time. And I don't really have any red, like the red she wanted, yarn in my stash. So this is like neon 80s highlighter red. And I'm going to make the Raindrops sweater by Tin Can Knits again. Because she's also been asking to have matching sweaters with me. And since that one has, again, a large size range, I'll I'll make hers in this color, and then I'm sure I can find something. I'm sure I can to make mine out of. I don't know what color it'll be. Yeah, something semi-solid, but that's the plan. So I will try to maybe make that for her for Christmas, or I'll at least have it started as her Christmas gift. And this is a 75-25 Superwash BFL in nylon. So that was the other thing I got, and it is in the Hot Tamales colorway. And then the last thing I purchased, besides the buttons, which was another thing, no, I got soap. So we went to this booth with husband and wife who have goats, and I love goats. I had a goat for 4-H growing up. His name was Sparky, and he was white. So I have a soft place in my heart for goats. And so I got the Snickerdoodle scent. And it is Brook Farm in East Hampton. Oh my gosh. Very local to me. AKA it's Connecticut. So I went to, it's in Massachusetts, but you know, obviously people come from all over New England. So I didn't realize till just now that these people were in Connecticut. Yeah, but Brook Farm, East Hampton, Connecticut. So Snickerdoodle, Christmas Spice, and Vanilla Bean. So all like really nice Christmassy smells. And so they were very affordable. I definitely will be getting more from them. I got one of their cards too. But you know, it's just olive oil, palm oil, coconut oil, goat milk, and fragrance. So, oh my gosh. And they all smell good together, like they coordinate. There was a sugar plum one that I really wanted, and I think eggnog maybe. But yeah, there were like special Christmas scents. And I didn't get all of them. I just got the Christmas Spice. And then I think the Vanilla Bean and Snickerdoodle they have year round. So that was that one. And then I got a print to go up here. I have a Gustav Klimt pencil drawing up here that you can't see because it's just out of frame. There you go. I believe it is called Two Nudes Sitting. So I got a print, and it is a pencil drawing as well. Look at that little sheepy's face. Oh my god, I cannot. There's sheep in the background here. I just love it. It's so pretty. So that was the other thing I purchased. It's from Jean Matras. And he was there selling his prints. So it is numbered. It's like 278 out of 3,000. So pretty small print runs. He has beautiful work. I really loved it, and I wanted to get more of them. So I definitely will be getting more from him at some point. He had a lot of like farm scenes, sheep. He also had like ravens and trees, and they were just beautiful. So, yep, I just need to get a frame for that. It also will match the, shoot, I hope I didn't show that. If I did, I'll take it out later. This guy that I got from Kristen that I need to get a frame for, but I think it'll look really cool. I'm gonna have all these nice like black and white ink drawings. This is from Giada Rose, but it's gnomes, like a gnome couple. I need to get that up for Christmas time. But gnomes are for always, not just at Christmas. They're for all year round. Need to flip it this way so it's protected. If that's not showing. No, it is not. Good. Nina is not showing people's addresses. Hooray! Okay. Then kind of last thing, this is not an acquisition, but I think this might be a cast on for travel knitting, perhaps, at some point. Can't stand that weird little circle. I don't know how to turn that off now. Sorry. I got it into like autofocus lock. Probably from dropping it. I hope I didn't break my phone. I had to get a new phone. Well, I didn't have to. Credo had to give it to me. Because I had issues with calls dropping constantly. And they finally figured out that it was my phone, not the carrier. And so it was replaced 9 months later. So I think what I'm going to do is I really want another As You Like It sweater. It is one of my favorite sweaters. I wear it all the time. It's the one that I knit out of all the autumnal colors. And I was a test knitter for Sally Jane. It was Pink Hair Girl Knits. And I wanted another one. So what I want to do this time is use this color, which is the Adelaide Cottage Harry Potter Club color. For October. It's Wicked. And it has speckles of orange, raspberry, and black. And it's on a gray background. And I'm going to pair it with this, which is Wool & Vineyards Grimm on Blitzed. Oh, Kristen, why don't you dye Blitzed anymore? Look at it. Just look at it. Oh my God. Look at it sparkle. So I have like 1.5 skeins of this. So I'm going to, that'll be the stripe between all the other stripes. And I'm going to alternate stripes of this and this for that. Drawing out the hot pink speckle. This is Knit Picks kettle dye, Stroll kettle dyes in Turkish Delight. I have used some of it for heels and toes of socks, but I still have a lot, and I think it'll be fine because I'm going to use mostly a lot of the Grimm. I'll probably use all the Grimm, both this and the other half skein. This will get quite a bit used, and then this will be just some, but yeah, I think that's going to be really cool. It's going to be a good sweater. And I've been wanting to use the Grimm for a sweater. But yeah, it's going to be good. This was sitting on my windowsill, and that's what made me think, ooh, I should do a stripy sweater. Ooh, I should do another As You Like It. Yeah. So anyway, that is my knitting plans. That's everything I've been knitting. Other than that, yeah, just been working, and I'm wearing my Winterfjell. I didn't mention that, but this was my Rhinebeck sweater. This is where the sleeves fall on my hands, so it's nice and warm and cozy. I'm wearing it because it's cold, and it was cold in my house. I kicked up the pellet stove, but it took a little while. It's getting a little bit warmer now. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off because I want to finish eating my sandwich, and I would like to knit some on that sleeve and get some progress done while everybody's gone at jiu-jitsu. So thank you all for joining me, and contact me, prize winner. And until next time, I hope you get to spend time doing the things you love, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.